When you have ADHD and you have to go on a long road trip, especially if you're driving on that long road trip, how do you keep yourself entertained? Because a lot of it is going to be, hey, I look at the side of the road. Hey, I look at the median. Hey, I look at the road in front of me, or I look at the car in front of me or the car passing me. And then you got to figure out what you're going to do while you're still driving. Because you may have, 1,000 miles, 500 miles, whatever it is to go, and you have to find ways to keep yourself entertained. So I thought about that and decided I was going to share the things that I do, and I want to give you at least 10 of them. So these are the 10 best ADHD fun driving entertainment of 2021. Number 10, have a playlist. Have an awesome playlist that you know will keep you awake, that's going to keep you entertained, that's going to keep you hyped up, and is going to be good for a road trip. You don't want the really calm, serene kind of music because that might make you sleepy, might make you tired, and you don't want that when you're driving. You want something that's going to keep you awake, that's going to keep you going, that's going to keep you motivated when you're driving on these long road trips, and you need to figure out what that playlist is before you leave. So you don't get on the road and say, I don't have any music to listen to, nothing that is really going to entertain me for this long road trip, and now I'm stuck with these songs I don't really like or just aren't the songs that are keeping me awake, and I really need better songs. So make sure you have a playlist before you leave so you will have something to listen to while you are driving that will keep you entertained and keep you moving towards your destination. Number 9, sing and dance. Have fun while you're driving. Have something to do, and singing and dancing can be one of the things you do. If you have that playlist on that has all the best songs and you find that one song that is your favorite song, don't be afraid to go ahead and sing. Don't be afraid to just be yourself in your car and don't worry about what people think about you as they're passing by. Because if you're having fun, you're entertaining yourself, and that is good for you. So go ahead, sing that song, sing all the lyrics, mess up the lyrics. It doesn't really matter because no one can hear you unless you have another person sitting next to you. Then not so much of a thing. But if you're by yourself, no one can hear you. Mess up the lyrics, make up new lyrics, doesn't matter. Just go ahead and sing. And if you want to dance too, just dance, have fun with it. Nobody is going to care that you're dancing in the car. They may laugh at you, they may look at you, whatever. But you're dancing, you're having fun, you're dancing to your favorite song, or you're singing and dancing. But the point of this is to have fun, and that will keep you entertained, and that will keep you more interested in driving as you are driving on this long road trip. Number 8, use the time to listen to a podcast or an audio book. And that can be one of the best things because you have all the time in the world, right? You have these 4, 5, 6 hours, maybe 7 hours, whatever it is, and is the perfect time to listen to that book you've been putting off that you want to listen to. You've got it on your phone, you got it on your tablet, and now is the perfect time to listen to it. Or you listen to a podcast like this one. Now, shameless plug there. But you listen to a podcast, your favorite podcast, whichever one you want to listen to, and maybe you have multiple that you really like and you haven't been able to listen to the episodes. And now is the perfect time to do that because it can entertain you on the road as you are driving. And it'll keep your mind moving, keep your mind entertained. And that is one of the most important things we have ADHD, keeping your mind entertained. And if you didn't have a podcast, didn't have an audiobook, and didn't have a playlist, well, it could be very boring and your mind would not be actively entertained. So just think about it and look at an audiobook that you can like, look at a podcast that you can like, and figure out the ones you want to listen to on your road trip before you start. And then you can have them all lined up already. And then you just push play and you're listening to an audiobook or you're listening to a podcast, and that is going to keep you entertained for the majority or maybe all of the road trip. Number 7, play a game while you're driving. There are lots of games that you can play even when you're by yourself when you're driving on these long road trips. And one of them you can play is called the license plate game. And what you do is you try to find as many license plates from different states as you can as you're driving along. And it can be entertaining, it can be fun, and it can be a game that's easy to play that won't distract you from driving. And that's really the thing that is good about this game, is because it'll keep you driving, it'll keep you entertained, and it'll keep you not having such a bored, long road trip as you're driving to your destination. The other thing you can do is you can pick out a color of different cars or different trucks. And then every time you see a car or truck of the color that you picked, then that's a point. You can play this with, another person in the car. You can play it by yourself, but it will keep you entertained because you'll keep looking for colors of cars and trucks that you picked. And it's just something else that you can use to entertain yourself. So if you have somebody else in the car, you can also play I Spy and stuff like that. But try to figure out a game that will entertain you, that will still let you be driving and keep your attention on the road, but just something to do to keep your mind entertained. Number 6, you can look for random things in the landscape. You are driving, you have hours to go. You might as well start looking for random stuff to just be interesting. You never know what you're going to find just looking around and saying, wow, I never knew that was there, or this was there, and I didn't know that store was there. What the heck does that store sell? And so you can just look for random things in the landscape and just see what you find, just see what you see. You might see, this cool mountain range or whatever. You might just see something different. You might just see something that you haven't seen before, and you're just going to look for those things because you're driving, you have nothing to do, and this can be some entertainment for you. You can just look around and say, what is different? What is something weird? What is something interesting? So if you're driving and it's just getting into that evening and you see the sky and it turns purple or red or pink or whatever it is, it's amazing to sit there and just look at the sunset. Now, don't get so involved in looking at the sunset that you don't pay attention to the road, but that can be something you do too. Just as you're driving, just take in the sunset because it is really nice. But again, you can look for random things in the landscape and maybe that's fun for you, or maybe you find something really cool. Maybe you find something you've never seen, and maybe it entertains you just for a little while. Number 5, you're going to want snacks. You're going to want something to eat while you're on the road. This is a very important, essential thing. Now, it's not an entertaining thing, but it is a very important, essential thing when you're going on a trip, because on a trip, especially a long road trip, you're going to get hungry. And when you get hungry, you become distracted. So you need to have something to eat, some type of snack, some type of drink, beverage too, because you might get thirsty. And maybe you have gum. Gum also works too, because gum helps to just kind of give you a little bit of focus because you're doing the whole chewing motion, and that is helping you to focus a little bit. And believe it or not, gum does actually help you focus. I did a podcast on that, and they've done some research on that, and wow, it's kind of amazing. But the point that I'm trying to make is this: you need some type of snacks while you are driving. The other thing I would say, have the snacks where you can reach them. Don't have them in the other seat when you're driving by yourself, or behind another seat when you're driving by yourself, because then you have to reach over into the other seat and try to feel around and see if you can find the snack that you want. You may find a snack, but it may not be the one that you want, and then kind of disappointed, right? Because you wanted the specific snack and you got the wrong one, and now you're going back to reach again to figure out if you can find the one that you want. So you don't want to do that. You also don't want to have something behind another seat to where you're reaching behind the seat and trying just to feel around, and maybe you'll get to the snack that you want, but what if it's way down in the bag and you don't get to the snack that you want? You're just going to keep trying to reach and find that snack. So you don't want to do that because it can distract you from driving. So you want to have your snacks next to you within reach where you can reach them easily. Number 4, stop and take a break. You're going to have to stop to go to the bathroom. You're going to have to stop to eat. You're going to have to stop if you feel yourself kind of drifting off to sleep in the dreamland. You need to stop then too. But the other thing is you can stop at interesting places. You're going on a road trip. You might as well stop and take a break at some interesting places along the way. And that can be a lot of fun, and that can be very entertaining. Because one, you're stopping, but you're stopping to do something. You're stopping to go see something you haven't seen. You're stopping to see something that is pretty interesting or pretty amazing. And sometimes it's just maybe a mountain overlook where you just see that, hey, I can go to this mountain overlook and it's not that far off my trip, and I'm going to go ahead and stop and do that. Or you see some place that you have just never seen before, a museum or something you want to go and just check out, Hershey Chocolate Factory or something like that, whatever it is. Then you get back on the road after you finish doing whatever you're doing or seeing whatever you're seeing, and then you continue on. But it's good to do this because it gives your brain a mental break, or it gives your brain a boredom break when you're driving, really. So it gives your brain that break that you can just go and do something else just for a little bit, and then you have the time to kind of give your brain that break and then come back refreshed. Because you've been driving for 3 or 4 hours, you're going to be at that point, you're like, man, I'm so tired of driving right now. I am so to the point that I need to just stop and take a break. And you stop and take a break, and maybe you just stop and take a break at a coffee shop too. You can do that as well. And I've done that. But once you stop, you take that break, you come back in and start driving again, you feel a little bit refreshed. You might feel a lot refreshed depending on what you stopped at. But you feel better because now you've gotten out of the car, stretched your legs, been able to see something cool, and now you can continue on your road trip. Number 3, call somebody. Call your friend, call your family, call someone that you barely know, but you have talk to and want to talk to again. So call them and just say, hey, I'm driving and I just want someone to talk to. So how are you doing? And you get into a conversation. You talk a little bit about whatever you're going to talk about. And hopefully there's some funny and laughs and everything in that conversation because you're trying to keep yourself entertained for a little bit while you're driving down the road and looking at nothing but trees in the median and other cars, and you're bored. So it's one of the best things you can do is have some way to call somebody else and just talk to them and have a conversation, because it will take up a little bit of your time. Maybe it takes up an hour. Maybe it takes up 2 hours if you have a really good friend who will stay on the phone with you for 2 hours, but I'm not sure that you want to stay on the phone for 2 hours. But you can still call them or call someone, and that can be your entertainment at least for a little while. Now, don't get so distracted that you're thinking about the conversation and you aren't paying attention to the road, but have fun, laugh, talk to that person, and then when you finish talking to them, maybe you have another person that you can call and just call them too. And maybe throughout the whole trip, you're just talking to people and catching up with people and laughing and having fun and talking about just about everything. Number 2, brainstorm. Brainstorm about everything random. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter what you're thinking about, doesn't matter what you choose. Brainstorm is basically you choose a subject and then you just throw out your thoughts about it, whatever comes to your mind. And you have time because you're driving on the road and you're like, what am I going to do? And have fun brainstorming. And it could be something random, like you're going to get a dog or a cat and you're like, I'm going to get this dog or cat. Which breed do I want? You start brainstorming about all the different breeds. Or maybe you're like, hey, what toy should I get them? And you start brainstorming about all the different dog toys or cat toys or whatever you want to do. Anyway, it's just random. It doesn't matter what the subject is. All you're going to do is think about a subject and think about all the ideas that you can about the subject. And maybe you come up with the idea or thing that you want through this process. And that'll be awesome because now you have a solution to something you were trying to figure out. Or you're thinking about something random and you're like, wow, that is a really cool random thing I just thought about. So maybe I'll try that, or maybe I have to do something about that when I get home. Or I can do it on the road. Whatever you want to do, I am going to think outside the box for a little while. And this is a subject that I'm going to think about for a little while. And I'm going to just come up with all sorts of ideas and try to figure it out. If I don't, that's okay. I still have just gone through the process of just thinking about random ideas about it. Take a random idea, a random thing, and just brainstorm about it. And it will take up some of your time as you're driving. And it will be kind of fun because of the fact you're thinking outside the box. And that is always kind of fun. And number 1, meditate. I know what you're thinking, how do I meditate on the road when I'm driving? Because, when I meditate, I usually have, this calmness or whatever, and I'm trying to go to sleep, whatever, and that's meditation for me, right? What I mean by this is think of something that really doesn't stress you out, but something that you're trying to figure out. Or the other thing, just take advantage of the quiet. Like if you are driving by yourself and it's going to be quiet if you don't have music on, you can just take advantage of that and just relax your mind and say, okay, I'm going to take advantage of the quiet. I'm going to relax my mind kind of. I'm still going to pay attention to the road, but I'm going to allow my mind to relax a little bit. And so you can do that while you're driving. You have all this time left, all this time on this road trip. You can just relax your mind for a little bit and just be like, okay, I'm not going to think about anything really stressful right now. I'm just going to think and have time to myself and relax my mind and take a little break from just thinking about everything else right now. And that is what I mean by meditate, is not being so focused on everything that might be going bad, that might not be good, or how hectic it's going to be, or this or that, or what you got to do when you get home. Don't focus on all those things when you meditate and you're driving on the road, but maybe don't focus on them at all when you meditate, even at home. But the point is you're going to take some time and just take the advantage of having peace, having some quiet. There are a lot of people who wish they could have peace and quiet a lot of times each and every day, and sometimes they don't get it, but you're on the road and you're driving, you can, especially if you're driving by yourself, you can have that mode of peace and quiet at least for a little while if you want to, and just think about something you want to think about, something that is entertaining, something that's happy for you, something that's good, something that you may do in the future that is going to be good as well. And you have the time to do that, so you can do that now. So that is what I mean by meditate. Take the time to take advantage of the quiet. Take the time to take advantage of being able to give your mind a break. Don't give your mind such a break that you're not paying attention to the road, but give your mind a little break. And then as you drive, you can go back and quit the meditation and go back to listen to your music or dance or whatever you want to do. But this is something that you can do on the road, and that can be good, and that lets you kind of get your thoughts out and de-stress, and also just kind of offload whatever is on your mind that might be stressing you out. All right, that is all the information I have for you today. I hope that you've enjoyed this podcast. I hope that you've enjoyed this YouTube video. If you're on YouTube, go and click the subscribe button for me, as well as if you're listening on the podcast app. If you're on YouTube, ring the notification bell, leave a like and a comment. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.